Hey there, everyone. This is alansrcs with another reaction video. Today, I'm looking at another video from AMain Hobbies. This is their which is best two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive tractor slash short course trucks. And, once again, maybe something I can borrow from them, using my own videos. And, uh, if you, after watching the video, you like what they do. I got a cord right here, sorry about that. Yeah, after watching the video, you like what they do, AMain Hobbies, like their videos, subscribe to their channel, go for it. If you like what I do reacting to this, like giving my impression of how the video is and everything, then hit the like, subscribe. I'm also on Twitter, alansrcs. So let's check this thing out.
Just like full-size automobiles, RC models too are offered in two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive options. That's why we can have these two Traxxas models. Then they look identical, but they are not. So that's why today we're going to discuss a two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive models, why you would want one over the other, and ultimately, which is best. So in the RC world, when we talk about a two-wheel drive and a four-wheel drive model, we're just talking about how many wheels are attached to the drivetrain and spin under acceleration and slow down when braking. So when we refer to a two-wheel drive model, almost always in RC models, it's a rear-wheel drive model, so just the rear wheels are powered, not the front, although there are some front-wheel drive RC models, but it is less common, and they're almost always on-road models. So we're not going to really be discussing that today, but on the four-wheel drive side, in the full-size car world, they refer to them as all-wheel drive. Sometimes trucks, they still call them 4x4s. But for RC models, a four-wheel drive model has all four tires, wheels connected to the drivetrain, being powered under acceleration and being stopped under braking. One of these models is a two-wheel drive and one of them is a four-wheel drive model. They look the same, but underneath they are very different models, and they have very different characteristics when you go out and use them, and they also have different characteristics on your wallet when it comes time to maintain them. So we'll get into it first with the two-wheel drive model, which is this one. So here is the Traxxas two-wheel drive. This is a fairly basic layout, just like most two-wheel drive models.
I'm stopping the video here, but just mentioning two-wheel drive, that's what I have. I currently converted it, well, not currently, you've seen my other YouTube videos, you've seen it with that Chevy Silverado Pro Touring body on it. Just because there's not a whole lot of dirt around where I live, it's more paved, so have it drive on the street more and looking more like a street truck. But anyway, back to the video.
So mechanically, there isn't a whole lot going on. It's just here in the back end of the model. So we have our electric motor that powers this transmission, and there is a differential down there, so we have differential action. And then that diff has drive shafts that power each of the tires in the back. Here we have a Traxxas 4x4, so this layout is a little bit more complex than the two-wheel drive, but essentially here is our motor, which then powers a center drive shaft. So this drive shaft distributes that single power source to two ends of the model. So in the rear end, we have a differential again, so we have a diff in the back, and that diff is connected to the drive shafts that power those axles. Now, if we follow this center drive shaft up to the front, we'll find that this four-wheel drive truck has a second differential in the front with then another set of drive shafts that power the front tires. Okay, great. So what does this all mean, and why should you care? The biggest thing about a two-wheel drive and a four-wheel drive model comes down to the two-wheel drive model, which is rear-wheel driven. The rear tires are pushing. On the four-wheel drive model, not only are those rear tires pushing, but you have the front tires that are always pulling. And so when you have this push-pull situation, it generates a lot of traction. It's a system that wants to continually be in motion rather than getting stuck. So in really loose, loamy situations, sand, mud, rough terrain where there's obstacles and rocks to go over, a four-wheel drive model which generates more traction will always excel in those conditions. A two-wheel drive model performs just great with those rear wheels pushing, but not in all situations. Really loamy sand, mud, the model just doesn't generate the same amount of traction, and that's why the rear tires will just end up spinning, digging out holes, and sinking. The same can be said when it comes time to apply the brakes. On a two-wheel drive model, when you try to slow down and want to apply the brakes, it's just the rear tires doing the work. On the four-wheel drive model, you have all four tires applying the same force, generating a lot of traction, and you can come to a stop faster. Four-wheel drive models are generally more in control. But it's not all roses and butterflies for four-wheel drive models from here. For one, four-wheel drive models have a lot more mechanical parts. When it comes time for maintenance, you have a lot more parts to wear out. You have a rear differential, you have a front differential, you have rear drive shafts and front drive shafts, you have a center drive shaft. There's a lot more parts in a four-wheel drive model that wear out and need to be replaced down the road. On a two-wheel drive model, you only have the rear end to worry about. There isn't as much parts. And because of that, the maintenance requirements are more costly on a four-wheel drive model. Also, because of those additional parts on the four-wheel drive model, four-wheel drive models are almost always heavier than the two-wheel drive counterpart. So when you think about it, a four-wheel drive model is going to be heavier, it has more parts, the drivetrain just has more mechanical parts, which leads to more rolling mass, rotational mass, and overall weight. So typically, a four-wheel drive model provides more strain onto the system. There's more strain in the drivetrain, there's more strain on the motor, there's more strain on your electronic speed control, and there's going to be more strain on your LiPo battery or your NIM pack. It's especially common for guys using a four-wheel drive short course truck to puff their LiPos. It does not happen as much with a two-wheel drive truck. Overall, a four-wheel drive model is just generally more expensive. The upfront cost to that four-wheel drive slash is more than the two-wheel, and then the maintenance and the repairs down the road of replacing worn-out parts will also be more expensive. Not because the four-wheel drive parts are more expensive, just because the four-wheel drive has more parts that you'll need to purchase. And then we didn't even talk about the front tire wear, where, as you can imagine, on a four-wheel drive truck, the front tires, as they're pulling the model forward, are going to wear out significantly faster than on a two-wheel drive truck. So in the end, each platform has its pros and cons. The four-wheel drive is going to give you great control, but there's more upfront costs and there's a higher amount of strain on your electronics. And with the two-wheel drive, if you don't mind the slight sacrifice in that traction, you'll still have a great platform that's easy to work on, will cost you less to maintain, and will be less stressful and strenuous on your electronics. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, on the two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive platforms. If you have any questions for us, leave it down below. And if you'd like more info, please check out our links down there as well. I'm Brett with AMain Hobbies. Thanks for watching.
Now, like you said, you liked their video, AMain Hobbies, which is best, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, tracks to slash. So like theirs, subscribe to theirs. As for me, you like, well, I haven't given my opinion yet. Like they did like an introduction and the music, then that maybe I should, because I actually am gonna produce some videos that, is not reaction. So maybe I'll try that with one of mine, coming up in the future. But I didn't want to stop it because I paused it once before, But I wanted to bring up the point of what he said about the loose, loamy conditions and everything, the two-wheel drive slash and issues with it. I was going to bring up that, yeah, with my two-wheel drive slash, you know, times when I go down to the shore and drive in the sand, yeah, I usually will bring my clodbusters or something. My clodbusters, my four-wheel drive Stampede. I haven't brought my four-wheel drive Rustler there yet. I'm going to, but you know, I brought my scale vehicles there too. But you know, slash is always something. I brought it 1 year, but it, like I said, loose conditions at two-wheel drive, it just wasn't cutting it. So in subsequent years since, I've always had to leave. You know, I always left my slash at home. I'm like, I can't handle it in the sand. But like I said, I didn't want to stop the video. You know, if I want to stop commenting on every little thing, you know, I probably, you know, some videos, you know, I probably would be hitting that pause like all the time. But anyway, is it AMain Hobbies? Like, subscribe to them if you like and subscribe to that video. If you liked me, you know, reacting to it, or you know, telling you some stories of, you know, my own, you know, experiences with these, then, you know, like, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff. I'm also on Twitter, alansrcs. If you have alansrcs on Twitter. If you have an idea of an RC video, you know, that you want me to look at, you know, then that's where you drop me a line. See, said it like Kevin Hart said it, didn't say. Oh, yeah. All right, yeah. I said like, subscribe, comment to me on Twitter what you want to see. So until next time, this is alansrcs. Take care of yourselves.